Hello everyone and welcome to a tactical preview of Manchester United against Brighton and Hove Albion. It's a Friday night game. Don't know how I feel about those just yet, but it's a Friday night game and we're having to get on with it. Now you can win 50 quid with BetBull just for following the bet that I'm putting on, and I'm going to get to that a little bit later on. But before I do, we're going to talk about how Manchester United can win this game against Brighton. Now United have suffered a little bit recently from really indifferent form, and the Arsenal game last weekend sort of epitomised that, really. We got the result, but it was one of the worst performances that United have put in all season. It was absolutely toothless. It was devoid of ideas in the final third, and it was mega frustrating for the fans in the stands. We eventually do get the winner in a very last minute. Fellaini popping up to stick the ball in the back of the net for us. Symptomatic of the problems that we've had this season. Plan A didn't go to plan, and Plan B wasn't really the best of plans either. Now, alright, it was effective and it eventually got there, but I think United changed the style of play far too much when we bring on someone like Fellaini, when we're easily good enough to be able to beat the teams that are in front of us by playing football on the floor. But by the same rule, it's effective and we come away with 3 points. So I'm massively conflicted about what to do about that. So we're coming up against the Brighton side that has won none of the last 6. We've lost 1 of our last 6 and put in a pretty decent run of things, to be honest, of late in the league. And I don't see that changing any way whatsoever this week. Now, the inconsistency with United is a big problem. But I don't think it matters now, because I think second is all but secure. We have basically got second in the bag, and Brighton are basically safe. It's not mathematical for either of us, but it's basically done for us and it's basically done for them, which means that this match is probably going to be played out at a testimonial pace. And I do expect United to start changing stuff up. Will they bring in some youth names? And there's a couple I'm going to throw in a little bit later on, and I'll see what you guys think about that. But I'm not expecting any of them to start. I think if they do start, it'll be the very last game of the season when I expect that sort of thing to happen. Now, how can Manchester United beat Brighton? I mean, they was very good against us in the FA Cup. They actually give us a little bit of a scare. They limited us to creating a few chances. And unusual for United, we was quite clinical in getting them over the line. Only 3 chances, we scored 2 of those. We need to be doing more of the same, because I expect that these are going to try and contain us. The problem with this Brighton side is that they're very susceptible to crosses. Crosses from deep, which is the sort of cross that you would expect to see put in from, you know, just outside of the final third, into somebody like a Lukaku would have been excellent, but I don't expect Lukaku's going to be fit for this. There's only talk of him being fit for the FA Cup final, so I would completely rule him out of these next 3 league games, which are essentially meaningless. Which means that there might be a Fellaini element brought in if Jose has identified this weakness in the Brighton side. But luckily for us, the other weakness that Brighton are susceptible to is both balls into the channels, in behind the defence and getting them turned around, and also one-touch football in and around the D. United was very good against them doing that, and if you look at all the chances that they've conceded to all the other clubs in the league as well, their scrambling defence isn't very good. Players get sucked to the ball, they get sucked to the man, and one-touch football in and around the D, in and around the box like that, is going to absolutely tear them to pieces. So you've got to say, what are Manchester United going to do? How are Manchester United going to effectively line up and get this over the line then? The starting 11 that I expect to see from Manchester United, and I'll come on to my third point in a second as I get to this, is it's going to be Big Dave in net, chasing down that golden glove. I think the back four is very likely to be Antonio Valencia, Ashley Young. I think Victor Lindelof definitely deserves another start after what for me was a man of the match performance against Arsenal. I thought he was excellent bringing the ball out. I thought his decision making in terms of defensive, and also when he was dragging the ball out of defence, was excellent. It was the best game I've seen Lindelof have in a Manchester United shirt. So he, for me, has to start another game. Alongside him, I do expect it's going to be Chris Smalling. And if you go and watch the Arsenal goal, you'll see how at fault Chris Smalling was jumping out of defence. He can't be doing that. The midfield, I think he's going to persist with a midfield 3, Herrera, Matic and Pogba. Maybe he'll bring his son in, Scott McTominay, after what he said about him at the Player of the Year Awards for Herrera, but I do think it'll be those 3 that play. I think he's starting to gear up to what we're going to see in the FA Cup final. I think he's just testing out partnerships, he's testing out collaborations on the pitch, and he's testing out little systems of play. And I would expect to see those 3, again, be as solid as they have been. And if they are, I think we have no problems. Where Manchester United are going to win and lose this game is in the final third for me. And this is where I'm unsure. I think when you play Anthony Martial, with Marcus Rashford that gives you a tremendous attacking outlet. We saw at Bournemouth, those two players absolutely lit it up. Partnered with Jesse Lingard as the third striker there, or the third forward. I think he's going to go with Sanchez, Mata, with Marcus Rashford as a number 9. And Rashford number 9 was the third point I wanted to talk about in this. What Rashford offers you as a team that's playing with a number 9. Now, he's not great in the air, which means that crossing, which we've not really done all season anyway, is probably out of the window. It's not going to go down like that. What Marcus does really well is he patrols the back line. He's in and out, weaving in between the two centre-halves. He's going standing behind one of the full-backs. He's making himself an option all the time. He's always looking for the ball to feet, and he's always looking for the ball in behind or into one of the channels where there is no such thing as a 50-50 ball. You put a ball into the channel and Marcus Rashford's running for it with that full-back, and backing Marcus Rashford every single time. The problem United are going to have is if the defence and the midfield collapses onto each other, we're going to have no space in those areas, which means that we're going to have to go into the channels, and then it's going to be hard for Rashford to come back in and create something for himself. That's what you're really reliant on Sanchez and Mata holding their width, which Mata's not going to do on the right-hand side. So you want Sanchez to hold his width on that side, and as much as possible, if Juan Mata's coming on the inside, Marcus Rashford needs to look to the right-hand side, because as this defence starts to become narrow, it's going to become very hard for us to get so many good quality touches where we can move that defence around and get something happening. My prediction for this game is it's going to be a 2-1 win for Manchester United. We're going to make it difficult for ourselves again, but I do think that the team's going to have enough impetus to get over the line, and I hope Jose Mourinho is using this as a chance to say to them, there's FA Cup final places at stake here. It's on you. Go and make it happen. And I think if that's the attitude that we go out there with, I'm pretty sure that we can. So as I said earlier, you can win £50 just for following the bet that I am placing on BetBull. And it's as simple as hit the link in the description below, come and join me on BetBull, follow me on there, Mr. Stephen Howson, put the bet on that I am putting on, and it's a tasty one, and you can win 50 quid just for putting it on. You don't have to win, the bet doesn't have to come in, just if you follow me, you can win 50 quid just for doing that. So, the bet that I'm putting on is going to be Manchester United, it's an ACCA, so United to beat Brighton, we're going for Palace to beat Stoke, we are going for Newcastle to beat Watford, Bournemouth to beat Swansea at home, we're going for Leicester and West Ham to draw, and Tottenham to beat West Brom. That's coming in at about 148 to 1 at the moment. So I'm going to stick a tenner on that one. That's a nice tasty return. If you fancy that as well, stick it on, and some random person is just going to be given 50 quid in their account on BetBull just for following me and putting this bet on. It's as simple as that. So go and download it and let us know what you think. So thank you for watching. Make sure to get your comments on. I want to see who you're saying for first goal scorer. I want to see your score prediction, and I want to know what youth players you think Jose Mourinho is going to bring in, because I think Tahith Chong, after winning Jimmy Murphy Player of the Year, is going to be one of the ones that Jose Mourinho looks to debut by the end of the season. Who do you guys think he's going to do? Let me know in the comments. Laters.